It's a pretty exciting week this week. PlayStation 5 launched in America yesterday. It's going to launch in Europe in 6 days' time. All of my accessories came yesterday. I got a spare DualSense controller, I got a PlayStation 5 controller dock, and I also got the HD camera, which I'm going to show you in another video. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to try and compare the DualSense controller to the DualShock 4 controller, PlayStation 5 dock to the PlayStation 4 dock. So let's start with the controllers. I picked them both up. I feel like the DualSense controller is slightly heavier. Maybe quite a bit heavier. Should we see if I'm right? Let's whack them on the scales and find out. So, DualShock 4, 216 grams. DualSense controller, 281 grams. Definitely the heavier of the two. This one is also, it feels bigger to hold in your hand. They don't look massively different in size. But this one is definitely slightly wider. I think the L1 and R1 buttons are also slightly wider. The back triggers are also bigger, although they don't really feel any longer. There's obviously a light bar on the DualShock 4, but no light bar on the DualSense. It does have lights around the front. If I press that button, they light up blue. It's a really nice blue. I'm liking that blue a lot. So if I put my hand on it, I feel like the buttons are in a really good place, but the stretch towards the stick is quite a big one for me. It probably isn't for people with man-sized hands, but for me I actually find that quite hard. I've also got one thumb that doesn't move as far as the other, so that can be slightly problematic. Doing that doesn't feel super comfortable. I may have to end up playing with my fingers on two buttons rather than one button like I did with the DualShock 4. But I seem to remember when I moved from a DualShock 3 to a DualShock 4, that also felt much bigger and it felt like a stretch. So I'm hoping I'll break it in and get used to it over time. These are very similar to the DualShock 4. They're still very hard, so I'm the kind of person that likes to put thumb grips on because I find these actually hurt the tip of my thumbs after a while, because I tend to push them from the edge rather than right on the middle, probably because my thumb's a bit short. So if I take these thumb grips off, we can compare those a little. They have I don't know if you can see, they have a slightly different texture. These are sort of smoother. This one almost has like a circular pattern of little bumps on it. Almost like a machined metal pattern. So, shall we see if a thumb grip fits on it? So these ones on here, they do turn, but they don't turn super easily. And they don't fall off, they're pretty well on there. They just spin around a bit when you're playing. If I put the thumb grip onto the DualSense, nope, that did not work. Better. That has some movement to it. I can push it backwards and forwards. That's not moving the stick, that's just moving the thumb grip. And it spins around quite freely. So I'm going to say these sticks are a little bit smaller than the ones on the DualShock 4. It does spin, but I feel like this one has a bit more movement to it. It's a bit easier. I could use it like that, but I think it would be better with a slightly smaller grip. I don't know if you can see that. It doesn't really move backwards and forwards so much. The buttons on this one are obviously much smoother. I am going to miss the colours. I do like the old-fashioned PlayStation logo and the coloured buttons, but I do also really like this cutout button. I like the feel of it and I like the look of it, so hopefully that won't be too sad times. This is also shinier, and these actually let light through, so that's off camera. I don't know if you can see that, they actually make little patterns, sort of eyelashy patterns underneath, sparkly patterns, when you let the light shine through them. The options button and the share button aren't marked with words anymore, they're marked with symbols. I think that's called a create button now. These all move when I poke one button in, but they feel pretty solid. I don't think they're going to cause any problems. Then it's USB-C rather than USB micro on the new controller. Packaging wise, this wasn't really a standard box, so we've got the anniversary box and the new PlayStation 5 box. This box is very similar to all the other boxes. White on the front, grey PlayStation symbols, blue on the top. Haptic feedback, adaptive triggers, built-in microphone, signature comfort. I guess that's the other difference. This one does not have a built-in microphone, this one does. They both have ports for headphones. I'm really curious to see what the microphone is going to be like on this one. It's the old DualShock 4 box. They don't have the clear windows in them anymore. Well, that's dusty. Okay, putting them aside for a moment, here are the controller docks. The PlayStation 4 one was very plain. Just glossy black on the bottom, black on the top. It has these sort of retractable docks for the controllers, and those fit into the aux port in the bottom of the controller. And this is similar. It also has sort of retractable jobbers for the aux port on the bottom of the controller. But I hope that it's going to be easier to put the controller into the new one than the old one, because putting a DualShock 4 into the old dock was actually quite difficult. So it goes like this. You put it down, you slide it about until it eventually finds its hole. When it's exactly on the right position in the shelf and I know where it is, I can kind of put it down and it goes on pretty much first time, but that's because I know the exact distance. Now that I've moved it, I'm just lost. Be sliding it around all day trying to get it to sit on the right place, which it eventually does. I know some people complain that they've scratched the bottom of their controllers doing that too. Mine don't look too bad, but I can totally imagine why that would happen. This one, let's give it the old test. That's clicked on straight away, so that's quite a massive difference. I've done it a couple of times. The only time I've had trouble putting it down is if I've leaned it too far forward, because sometimes it's hard to tell if it's straight. So if I do that, it actually clicks on anyway that time. But you can miss, but it's much harder to miss. So I think that's going to be a pretty huge quality of life improvement over the old one. Actually being able to put it down and not having to fight with it to make it click. See, that's not quite on properly that time. But generally that is quite a ton easier. So if I plug them in, they both have power adapter ports on the bottom. These wall chargers you could actually charge a PSP with, which was quite fun. I don't know if you can still do that with the new one. If I put that in and pop that on. Go on. Go on, my son. Go on. I'm not joking, it really is this difficult. Do it. There you go. So if I plug the old one in, you can see it glows a orangey colour. Or it should. That one may actually be fully charged. Yeah, glows orange, fades up and then fades down. Shall we see what colour the new one is? Are you excited? I'm excited. What colour do you think it will be? So it's blue when you turn it on. Have you got any guesses? You ready? You ready for this? It's the moment of truth. Ooh, it's orange too. I think that one now is also fully charged, so it just flashes the once when you put it on. Yep. So normally it fades up and down, just doing the orange wave, which is nice. It's easy to remember, both do the same thing. Just do a quick comparison of the old boxes, just for the sake of box loving. Again, all the PlayStation 5 stuff, white box, grey symbols, blue top. That seems to very much be the branding this generation. The old one is wavy patterns, blue box, small 3D symbols, and blue all over. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this comparison video. I like the new DualSense controller a lot. I'm going to end up calling it a DualShock 5 all the time, even though it isn't. I think it's going to be... I like how it feels in my hands, I like the weight of it, and I really like this shaping down the back. I also think the texture on the back is really tactile and very nice. That must be the resetting button there that I've just noticed. I just hope that that stretch isn't going to be too much. Might have to work my way up to it a little bit.